It's been a very long process, this web series. We traveled in 2009, and it took me a very long time to build everything because I had never built a website before. I had never done any video work. I'd been a journalist for over a decade, but I came from the old school of newspapers, so I had to teach myself all these skills along the way. It's been nearly a 3-year process from after it's been a 3-year process since we shot it till the point where it's at now. So at the moment there are 10 episodes available, and there's another 5 coming starting in 2 weeks. They'll be the last 5, so it's going to be 15 episodes in total. So many things happen so quickly in the journalism industry that by the time I came out of university, I felt like I'd actually lost touch with my trade a bit. Newspapers had gone online. There were less people being employed in newspapers, and I actually felt that I really had to catch up to where the industry was at. It didn't take a lot of thinking to realise that I need to find multimedia skills. So that became the idea for doing the web series, was to not only learn how to work with video, but also learn how websites work, learn how to work with social media, so Facebook and Twitter, YouTube, and other types of social media. So it's not, you can't just think about a publication anymore, it's so much more. Somewhere along that road I started thinking about how I could turn this project into a teaching tool. We have to be clear about the schedule because that's how your audience is going to connect with it. It needs to be predictable in that sense. So I think that's one of the main things beyond all the production work. I think schedule is still important online. So I think that's definitely one thing that you have to consider when you're doing a project, and something I would do differently next time for my own project. I think people need to go outside of their comfort zone a bit. If you know you're already a great writer, think about how you can take those written stories and put them into another context or another medium. Say, how do you convert a great novel into a tweet? How do you transform a podcast into a Facebook update? You got to kind of learn all these different skills and how these things are interconnected. A story is not just a story anymore. It's a very fragmented piece. Web series is a new industry, and I feel as a documentary maker, I'm a niche within a niche, because documentary web series is still very small within the web series community. But having said that, I think across the different genres, we've got so much to learn from each other, and we don't really get to see each other in person much because we're sitting at home in an office by ourselves doing editing, or we really need a forum where we can network, and this is it. And it's not only, for the local filmmakers, it's an international event. You're from France, I'm from Norway, or I live in Australia. There's people from Mexico, there's people from England, there's people from all over the world here, and we're building connections, building a network, we're building an industry right here that and LA Webfest helps us facilitate this. But there's also the critical element behind with panels running all day long, and I think that's actually been probably one of my favorite things about this festival has been the discussion panels, and it's really placed web series in a greater social context even, so it's not just talking about filmmaking or creating web series or marketing web series. It's trying to position web series in an educational context, in a business context, of course, in a marketing context, and how it sort of sits within a greater media industry. I think these are things that we really need to be conscious about, and I think this festival here has really facilitated that, and I think it's fantastic. from LA Webfest, there's been, I think, 10 non-fiction series screening, and I think one that really caught my attention was one from Washington DC called The Angle, which is it's really the way I understood it, and I've only seen 2 episodes, but they were very well made, great storytelling, great production quality, and it gave me a real kind of, like a portrait of a city and the people who live in it, and I really admire that kind of storytelling. It was so well made. Interviews with artists and what it's like to live and breathe and create and be an artist in Washington DC. And also there was another episode about an art therapy group who was helping handicapped people express themselves through art, and I can't wait to see the rest of it. But then there's, in terms of online documentaries, there's a great French online documentary called, I'm sorry my French is poor, but it's called Brève de Trottoir, with little random stories from around Paris. Prison Valley is another French online documentary. Actually, it's really well made, multimedia style. It's interactive. It's fantastic. It's really breaking grounds, you just immerse yourself in this new world and you discover new projects all the time. And it's a fantastic time that we live in at the moment to be able to see and engage with all of this stuff.